Good evening and welcome to the Get Established Show. It's your favorite internet uncles, and we got one of your favorite internet aunts with us tonight. Natasha Barnes-Owens in the room for Mental Moments. She's going to be in tonight for D. Jones. On the count of the night, I'm going to give it to you again. We got Shine. We got Sheila. We got your boy Big on the mic right now. And once again, filling in for D. Jones, Natasha Barnes-Owens from Mental Moments in the building. Let's get it started. Welcome, everyone. So tonight, y'all. Hold on. Hey. All right. Y'all, Shine is on ghost mode tonight, so we just going to let him do it.
All right, now.
It's close to Halloween and everything, so that's what we're going to go with. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We're going to be kicking it off. We're going to be talking about...
No slander.
Nah, we just calling it what it is, bro. We're going to be talking about baggage tonight. And since we have a lady in the room tonight, our special guest filling in for D. Jones, we're going to get her to start off.
Wow.
Tasha. So, as we talked earlier in the pre-show, and y'all, just so you know, everyone, as you're coming in, or if you watch on the pre-show, we will be doing a pre-show about 15, 20 minutes before the show going forward on Facebook. Just so y'all can see what goes on behind the scenes. Y'all might better want to say, hey, what y'all talk about this tonight? Just get involved, get in the chat. I'm going to be putting a link in a little bit where if you have a comment or a question and you want to go live with us, I'll put that in the chat soon and you'll be able to do that. But Tasha, back to you. So welcome again. And the question is, the topic for tonight is is baggage. We talked about something. It's baggage.
They go hand in hand, trauma and baggage.
Right. So we were talking about trauma from the standpoint of a couple of different ways. Relationships, meaning romantic, familiar, and business and platonic. So that's actually 4. How is it for you, or how is it for, you can say most people if you don't want to talk directly about you, but when you enter into a relationship with someone, a brand new relationship, because the older you get, they say it's harder to make friends. I disagree, but I understand why people say that. How do you deal with people when you first meet them now as a super pre-senior?
I'm
coining that term.
I love that. Look, I don't mind my age. I'm 52 and I'm loving every single year of it. But I guess the major thing is what we consider as baggage. Oftentimes when we say baggage, we think of it in a negative light, but I don't think baggage is necessarily negative. It could be things that you learn from your previous relationship that you're saying, I know I cannot tolerate, or I don't want to go down that road again. Or when I see those signs, I need to make some better decisions. So as it relates to baggage, I think even though, Big, you said that you do not bring baggage into new experiences, whether it's personal, business-wise, but I think it's just an innate type thing. It's just something that's in you that you bring to every relationship. And I think those are like teachable moments. Those are just not bad things. Like I may bring baggage into a relationship or new relationship, as far as, because sometimes men say women like to be controlling, all that type of thing. But sometimes women are placed in certain situations wherein they have to lead, they may have to, exert some type of authority.
Hold on, Tasha. We down the road if you talking about a woman not knowing if she got.
But I'm just saying, when you're saying baggage,
right.
I may bring some type of baggage into the relationship, as far as I may be just like this, like making decisions. And to me, that's not a negative thing, but it just comes from the standpoint of, that's kind of like how it's been for me. And so therefore it's like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Oh, okay. But because I've had to, sometimes we bring that baggage into new relationships.
So
And
you're
I think
saying to me, and not to interrupt you, this is what I'm trying to figure out. You're saying off the rip, you're gonna walk in and try to take over off the rip. You're not gonna just see who this person is, how they moving.
no, that's not what I'm saying. What I
Clarify,
am
because
saying
I'm trying to understand. Give it to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
What I am saying is because of habit. Just like we get up, you get up at a certain time every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Because of habit, you bring that into a new relationship. And I'm saying that I may bring in the relationship, not saying I want to control everything, but I'm just so used to putting my own gas in the car or not having maybe someone to support me in a particular way. So right off the brink, I'm going in and I'm just like, oh, I got this, but I may not have to have it in this new relationship. So I'm just saying that baggage I brought over, but what I think helps that situation is the communication.
Mm-hmm.
If you're bringing baggage in, then I think it's just a mere conversation to have and to get the history behind it. Because the baggage, there's history behind the baggage.
There's definitely always history behind the baggage, and that's a clear thing. Chris, what you got when you meet someone? Of course, you're a married man, so we're not talking about romantic, but in business or in a platonic relationship, that you meet a guy, y'all click, whatever reason. How are you gonna relate to him from the very beginning?
You make it seem like this guy stuff, you doing it, like I said, it's a new wave. I'm a dinosaur. I ain't down with the new lifestyles and ways of the world.
What?
I'm talking about no, look.
We
like
stand in a brotherhood.
I know what he's saying, but don't wait. I want clarity before I speak anything. Because people twist words up. Everything's accountable.
I know you're a married man.
So regardless, it's a funny bunch of suspicious married men. I'm a 100 straight married man. You know what I'm saying? You want to go that roll? I'm gonna roll that. But I'm just saying, I'm more like, the people you meet, man, you greet and you see them as, you would know somebody you cool with because they'll respect you and bring integrity into a friendship or business or what, it's how you interact, you know what I'm saying? And people, legally reverence each other differently. Even like I can understand what Tasha's saying, that when she's on her own, she got to do the things because a man is not in her life. So it becomes a habit after a period of time, her pumping the gas and doing things. So if a relationship comes a bond, she's not looking for that man to jump in to do that. She's going to continue to do it. That man got to show you, look, babe, I got this. You ain't got to do this no more. I'm here now.
And it's not that we don't want them to.
Yeah, but some mans don't even step up like that. Some mans will sit back in the car and still let her pump the gas. So it's like I fuss about stuff like that because that let me know he don't have the characteristics of a man. He's still a boy. When you're a man, you get referenced as a man. And it's like when you're a woman, you get referenced as a woman. And I look at when you having this woman thing, a real man ain't insecure about no woman. I wouldn't care if she's alpha. I wouldn't care if she's whatever, nice, whatever. She gonna know him for him. And she want to challenge him, he can move on. This ain't roll of the roses. This is like a relationship is something you build together with friendship and capacity. Your woman's supposed to be your best friend. When your woman is your best friend, you ain't got to go through all that crazy stuff because y'all understand. You know what irks her, she know what irks you. So it's like when you even in the business, y'all got to reference each other totally different. So I mean, baggage. My idea of baggage is me holding on to all the trauma of every relationship, and I bring it in on a person and put all the trauma that all these other people put on me, and I put it on that one woman. And that one woman shouldn't have to go through that. One woman shouldn't have to go through that. So I leave the baggage at the door because I can't judge. Every woman is different, and every woman shouldn't have to be going through the same trauma. So I'm just saying through my experience, not you, Tasha. Yours is totally different. But all I'm saying is I see some women, and I said this on many shows, man, ain't no good. Women not, and I said this, maybe you have been messing with the wrong person all your life. And you might have to go through a million frauds to find that prince. They might have to have a million kisses to find that prince. But once you find them, you're gonna find out that it's totally different. You're gonna say, I had to go through a million ugly toes just to get this one prince. But it took a time. Sometimes when you groom going through the problems you go through, you learn to be different. But what you gonna say? I know both of y'all want to say something.
What I was gonna say,
pull out your triggers and start firing.
if that's the way you moving, how will you ever be able to identify a prince?
Oh, I'm not. You talking to her or me?
You said that's the
you one bought the
I'm just saying, women. I'm just going from a perspective. I can't tell every woman. Some women ain't got to go through all that. Some women respect reverence to be different. Some women belittle themselves because they want to be in a relationship. Some women feel like you got to respect them to get what you want out of life. But I feel like it's a teamship. Two people come together, they got the same mind frame, and if you love each other, they do whatever they got to do to fix whatever the situation, and they come together and bond. You know what I'm saying? They bond together to build something together. Everybody ain't willing to bond. It ain't always about money. It ain't he got to have the most money or she got to have the most money. It's about what you happy with. Money ain't happiness. Money is more problems and more stress. You know what I'm saying? You can do things with money, but you got to know how to handle money. Majority of the people I see, some of them don't know how to handle money. They F up money instead of investing money and putting money away for their future. They want to party, get on cruises. They want to do this. They want to look at all this. They spend. So it's like, I've seen that tear up relationships because some people feel like they live in a light standard when they're in a relationship. And if that man can't bring that standard to them, then there's no need for them to continue on being in that relationship because they feel like I was this way with such and such. And if he can't keep it here. And some man can look like this. When I had my last lady, she was equal with me. I'm a millionaire. She was a millionaire. And everything I meet is I'm not a millionaire. I don't want to be. So it's like, we got to look at life totally different.
Go ahead,
I think sometimes when you talk about baggage, Big, sometimes in the course of dating, I'll go from that standpoint. Even in business, like you always, like when you're interviewing for a job and when you do your resume, 50% of America fluff on their resumes. Oh, they go to ChatGPT, you know what I'm saying? They fluff. So when you come to the table, when you go to the interview or when you go on the first date or whatever, fifth date, you're sending a representative. You're not even really yourself. And oftentimes that is a issue in relationships, professional or personal, is because once you get, and what happens is once you send that representative, because you want to put your best foot forward, you don't want to show them that I may have, someone may have suffered from abuse or someone may have been neglected as a kid or had bad money management skills and things like that. And then once you get into that person, like the intimacy part or the physical part or the chemistry that you have, you're already in, and then the baggage comes. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it is. Like sometimes when you go on those dates, like when the women, y'all say, well, then why would you talk to someone like that? Well, we didn't know they were that person when we started out, and 5 months in, it's just like, okay, the newness is worn off. So I guess I could be myself. And women do that as well.
But what about the women?
What do you do with that?
What about the women that know the dude ain't no good, but they just so curious with that thug life and that
because something else is great,
guns and the drugs and this and that, and they know what they getting into and still jump heads in. What? Look at you smiling. You like that part, right?
I'm just saying that's the reason. I think that's the reason why a lot of women do that. Is because even though the emotional stuff and all that other stuff is trash or garbage, but if the sex is great, they be like, well, that's what I'm just saying. Because for us, like, how many men is it to one woman, or how many women is it to one man?
It's like,
and it's slim picking. From say it again, Big.
It's like 2 to 1. It's actually higher than that because when you factor in the married men, the incarcerated men, and then the gay and bisexual men, then the number.
It's like 7 women to 1 man.
Something like that.
That's the stats.
Something like
So
that.
that's the reason why people.
That's why y'all should act better.
Shit. Don't get y'all. This is big
I'm just
after dark.
saying,
Let's see
it's
what
7 to
time
1.
is
Yep, that's what it is. Big after dark.
Yeah. Big
it?
after dark.
Roll with it, Big.
Yeah, go with it, Big. The new Kevin Samuels. Go with it.
I'm just saying,
Break it
baggage
down.
is something.
Say again, Tasha.
Baggage is something. I mean, I really think it's something that can be worked out, but we all bring some type of baggage to the table. Even though, Big, I know you said that you don't.
I'm not saying no. That's not what I'm saying. What I said
Clarify.
is that when I come into any relationship, I come as me and I treat the person as if I'm learning about them. I'm not in what if you look like this, if you blink like this, then you smoke weed. Or if you do this, your ear twitch like this, then you snort cocaine. You done robbed somebody's grandma. I don't do none of that stuff. I meet someone and I meet them and I learn about them while I'm in a relationship with them. That's what I do. Now, what I bring, that's me. I'm authentically bringing me. I mean, Tosh, let's see. How long we known each other now?
Oh, maybe like 5 years.
Okay, so
Has it
5
been that-
years. From the very first moment that you met me, am I the same or am I different?
You're definitely the same. I can't even think of any. You're definitely the same. You're
Think
right.
harder. Think harder, please. Just meditate. Think a little.
He's definitely
I
the
don't-
same. He hasn't changed, and that's really good. But that's rare. That's rare.
But see, that's not the. You're not experiencing him from the relationship standpoint, so you don't know
Hold
him.
on, Raymond. You're wrong.
I'm in a whole platonic relationship with Big.
Boom.
Big is a whole one. A
That-
whole platonic
that-
relationship with Big.
That
I talk to Big all the time, and he has never changed.
It's different dynamics. I get what you're saying, but it's different dynamics. You know what I'm saying?
Raymond, and this ain't about me. Let me just say.
No. We're not saying it's about.
Trying to say.
But,
I'm trying to figure out
but because we're on this course, I'm just saying that because relationship Big and friend Big is two different people. You dealing with two different types of people.
Have you been in a relationship with me, Raymond?
Oh
no, I'm not in a relationship with you.
No,
other than you my brother. That's the relationship we have. You my brother.
Relationship.
And that's a totally different relationship. But since we're talking and we're on this course, I'm just saying that those are two different types.
Shine, you do have a point. Shine, I'm not gonna. You are absolutely right, and I won't go into great detail, but you're absolutely right. Big. Okay, so let me just ask this to people out there. And people, if y'all out here, please tag somebody, share this link. Make sure you put some comments in because we want to know, because like we don't have all the answers. We're just giving you our opinion. But let's just hypothetically say, if you were married for years, I was married for over 20 years. Now that I'm single, been single for about like 4 or 5 years. Now my thought process is different as it relates to being in a committed relationship. Because I've been single for a minute and because of the baggage, and I'm not even saying that all of it is bad baggage, but because of the baggage, I don't know if I want to cohabitate with someone. I think I want my own place. I want him to have his own place and he can come and stay at my place for whatever period of time, and I could do the same over there. But I don't think I want to, moving forward, just be locked into this is our house. Like we can have a house, but I still want my own because of the baggage. That's what we call baggage. And some people don't want to get married again due to the baggage.
Let me ask you this. Could that be baggage, or could that just be you've grown into a different person?
It's baggage. You can call it growth. Because I think baggage is growth. Like I tell people all day long. I was in a over 20-year marriage. And all of those years weren't bad. Like, I appreciate the relationship that I had. I do. I respect him as a person. I respect whatever we had. But, and I'm gonna bring that baggage into the relationship, but from a better lens. Because I should be smarter now. Mm-hmm. So the signs that I need to see, I'm going to see, but I'm bringing that baggage in. Do I want to get married again? I don't know, because of the baggage. And it's still, I don't think it's bad. I just don't want to walk down the aisle but I still can be in a committed relationship. Now, negative baggage would be, I don't want to ever be in a relationship again, a committed relationship again. I'm just going to do my thing. That's negative baggage.
You think so?
What are your thoughts, Big?
What are your thoughts, Big?
Kevin Samuel, what is your thoughts?
Go ahead, man. I don't think that's necessarily a baggage thing. I think sometimes you get your head clear and you see things differently, and then you enjoy life in a different capacity. And maybe you want to focus more on your goals instead of having to give so much bandwidth to a romantic relationship. If somebody wants to say so. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good
baggage.
Little
baggage.
That's a good way of throwing that out there. I like that. Bandwidth.
Yeah.
I like
bandwidth.
That.
Baggage.
It doesn't mean, Tasha, to say that means everybody is supposed to be married. And there's people out here ain't supposed to be married.
I'm not saying that.
Kids.
I'm not saying that. But see, I think where we're disagreeing is that we're saying, like, I don't want people to look at, because just tonight, I just thought about it. Like, baggage don't have to be in a negative way. It just doesn't have to be.
I think baggage is bad, though. When we talk about baggage is negative.
It's a negative connotation associated. It's a negative
connotation, right? So I think if you have growth, you can learn from situations and just say, okay, well, I don't want to do that no more because of the outcome, whatever that equation was. And that's even with business. Like I told you, I've done great business with for a long period of time, and then we have a bad deal. Does that mean they're an awful person? Or does that mean at that particular moment they had a shortcoming, or whatever the case? It could have been my shortcoming. They could have felt that I did something wrong with the deal, and that's why it didn't work out the way it should have. But am I going to go into the next deal like that? No.
And you're right. Just like, how we have friends, like, especially girlfriends, especially girlfriends. If I fall out with one of my girlfriends, some people that are shallow-minded or narrow-minded, they would say, well, because you're not talking to that person, I'm not talking to them. And I say, no, because my experience or your experience with them may be different.
Right.
It may be different. So I know for women, that baggage thing about, like, well, if you're not talking to a person, I'm not. No, bring a new person to the situation every single time. It's a different experience. It may be a different experience. So I get you, Big. Baggage, good or bad.
Now I know we talked a little bit in the pre-show about trauma. Mm-hmm. I think trauma on top of baggage is hard to shake. I think that's a lethal combination, and I think it's a lot of people walking around with that. They were so impacted by whatever that trauma was, they're bringing that with them into every relationship that they come into. And it doesn't mean we're not just strictly talking about the romantic relationships tonight, y'all. We're talking about, business, platonic, and just for clarity, when I talk to Chris and Raymond, it's brotherly. Okay, because Chris obviously felt some kind of way.
When you dressing, how you mingle with a man? And I'm like,
I guess it all depends. I guess because mental health is so prevalent now, and we talk about mental health more now, even though we talk about mental health more than ever before, men still don't want to go to counseling. They just don't. They just don't. They would rather suffer or just never be in a good relationship, a good solid relationship. And I mean, it could be a good solid relationship with the kids, a good solid relationship with their spouse, a good solid relationship with their friends, at their job, but they just can't seem to make it to therapy. Like, what is that? What is it, men? Big Sean?
You saying men as a whole? Or
yeah, most men, especially in the African American community, they can lose everything and still don't go to therapy. They be like, I'm too messed up. Why don't Black men want to go to therapy?
Well, let's kind of I guess targeted it, because I mean, I know that when you're saying that, mostly it's men of our generation and maybe older that are like that.
We're Gen X.
Well, yeah, Gen X. But I mean, I think that it's we grew up with the thoughts about how that is, because I know, and Big can attest to this as well. It's like, okay, well, we are, men that we compartmentalize our issues and try to deal with them in a way where it's okay. This is this. Okay, well, I deal with this at another time, or let me deal with this now in a way that, as long as I can have that time to rummage through the baggage or the issues that are addressing, that if I can get those things focused and in control here, then everything else can be dealt with
10 years later. 10 years later.
Well, I mean,
that's like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the Black brother thing. It's just like, if I could think about it, I'm gonna try to figure this out myself. And meanwhile, back home on the ranch, those that care about you and love you, like, what we waiting on?
Big.
So I'm just saying. So my question to y'all is just like, how long is it gonna take y'all to compartmentalize? And why do y'all have the fear of being better? Because that's what I see. It's like, why do you have a fear of addressing, just like rip the Band-Aid off and let's just deal with some stuff? Because don't you want to be better? Like, I just feel like it's just it weighs heavy when you're dealing with stuff every single day and you're in the same space. Why don't men like to go to therapy? Why don't they like to deal with their issues?
I think men carry so much.
Shit, we do too. Excuse me, Jesus. The hell you mean?
You're right.
I think men carry a lot. It's a lot on your plate, especially if you're a good man, a good solid man.
What you call a good solid man?
One that's hyper concerned about the productivity and the lifestyle of their family. I think that's a good man, and making sure they have what they need, want to be able to provide, want to be able to protect, and wanted to take the unnecessary pressure off of them. And men are just good at compartmentalizing. I think that's just one of the traits that we got, and I don't think it necessarily bothers us the way that it may bother y'all. I think the problem comes in. Hear me out. This is why I think the problem comes in. I think the big problem comes in with men and compartmentalizing is when they haven't been prepared, when they may have not had a male role model or someone to get an understanding on how to handle this stuff, because we're built for this. We're built for the pressure. We are. You know, I know the stats say that, you know, men commit the most suicide. But overall,
we built for that.
Natasha tends to disagree with that last statement.
Which particular one?
The last statement you just made.
I'm just saying. So look, Jada. I know y'all probably don't, you know, think too much of her. Whatever your opinions are of Jada Pinkett Smith, but she said it best. It was years ago, I think, when she first started the Table Talk, and she talked about Black men and Black women, and she said for so long, because the Black woman knew the struggle for the Black man, knew that the racism was strong and thick in the workplace, knew that he wasn't going to be treated fairly when he went to the grocery store, knew all the stats that were against them, and then dealing with they ain't grow up with the mother, or they ain't grow up with the father, or this happened in their family. So therefore, we carried, sorry guys, we had compassion for men. And so therefore we were just like, yo, baby, I got your back. I got your back. But in the process of us having their back, we started controlling things because of whatever emotional place the men were at that time. We like, baby, we got you. Like, that's the help me. That's the, my age 50, that's what we did. We rolled up our sleeves. We were like, yo, babe, we gonna make sure you good. But that was to our detriment, because then we spoiled them till they expected us to do this.
Hold on.
But in the beginning, we were just basically doing that to make sure that let the man know we got your back, and we always got your back. But it kind of flipped. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm not saying that y'all didn't do that, and you said a key word, had, mean past tense. Let me read some of the comments, and we will get back.
Yeah. You gonna read some of them comments because Pete is in here. Yeah. You gonna read.
Boone says that's true, but the issue with men is we're still viewed as crazy when we do counseling. It's gotten better recently, but overall, you're right. Most men don't want to do counseling.
And it's so hard to try to find counselors for Black men, because sometimes we don't want to go to a white person because they don't understand the struggle. So it is finding the right therapist. But go ahead with the next comment.
Michelle Boone says absolutely not.
What's that in reference to?
I think that's my understanding, that she is saying that absolutely not, men don't want to go to counseling. And then she said, we y'all built for us. I guess she said we all built for it, which meaning us. Men are built for it. I mean, and I just think that's by design. It's so many things that unless you are a husband, father,
but hold up,
uncle.
I've been letting y'all rant for the last, I'm gonna cut in here and I'm gonna start doing my right. It's time to change the narrative.
Let me drop this last comment.
Hold on. Dr. Sam, calm down, Sam, you for a minute. What do we got to go counseling for? Break this down. Am I abusive? Am I an alcoholic? Am I on heroin? Am I snapping at the ball? What do I need to go counseling for first? So if I'm in a humble and a peaceful environment and everything is totally cool, and me and my wife is happy, we traveling, we ain't got no problem, we not fighting and fussing, they ain't roared a war.
We're not talking about you.
But I'm just saying, this is the thing. We didn't need counseling far as time could go back. We didn't have counseling. Could you imagine seeing your mama hanging on a noose? Could you imagine seeing your daughter snatched from you and a man raping your daughter and ain't nothing you could do? Could you imagine you out there and you see your wife and child being molested and all you could do is the master got a gun to you and you can what think about the trauma they went through and they still made it. So I'm like, when we weak out, they went through some stuff that we can't even.
But where do you think we got the trauma from?
Held the family together. They still held the family. So you mean to tell me they're 100 times stronger than we are now? We don't even go through the problems they went through. We don't even go through the problem. But the problem with mental problems, now the problem is we don't know how to communicate with each other. We'll take our frustration out on one another. Some people do have problems and need to talk. Some think they got to smoke weed, go drinking or whatever, clubbing. This relaxes them. Women do the same thing. I drink my wine and hang with my girls. So it's like this is mental counseling for some people. Some people need to sit down and get the stuff off their chest because it builds up and then they snap. Some people need to sit down and stretch out in the chair and let their problems on somebody that got an open ear. Now, I just want to know what problems that we need to go through because man got a lot of mental problems. What mental problems? Now, I'm not out here being a crazy, deranged person trying to murder people. I ain't out here trying to run the world and poison the food. I ain't out here trying to take the military over and kill people. So do you think they need counseling? Do you think the president needs counseling?
I'm not saying you per se.
I ain't saying me. I'm just making a nerd because we get caught up with what everybody's idea of what life is and expectation what life is. We feel like we got to get the biggest cars. We got to keep up with the Joneses. We got to do this. If they going through problems, we need to fix it. The problem is you need to fix your damn self. Understand who you are. If you're in a toxic environment, move yourself out that crazy toxic environment. If you're in a crazy hectic job, get your ass out that crazy hectic job. Stop letting people dictate your life. You got one life. Enjoy it. Happiness.
Some people can't do that on their own.
Talking your problems with somebody ain't gonna solve it. It might make you feel a little bit. People go to church and get prayed over and let it go in church and still go back out the door with the problems back on in the baggage. The one thing you said is baggage. I can sit down with a counselor every day and drop the bag down. And, whew, I feel good. And pick the bag back up and still got the problems when I walk out the door.
No, I mean, I think that's the reason why.
I never let go of the baggage. You don't take the clothes you had since you was in high school from living with your mom, that's baggage. Then take it when you got with your spouse, that's baggage. Then you moved out from your spouse, that's baggage. And you're still carrying that baggage. Every little thing that happened to you, you're still holding on to. All baggage ain't good baggage. You know what? I bet you got a whole brand new wardrobe. You gave rid of all your old baggage, got rid of it. You gave it away to the thrift store. Oh, you hold everything from you as a teen.
I have a coat that I had in college. I have shoes when I was in college.
Oh,
I mean, what I'm saying is that's why I'm saying some baggage is good, some baggage is not. And I just think I'm just saying the majority of African American men are afraid to unravel that baggage, that childhood trauma.
I agree with you. That
they you know, and they don't even know where to begin. And the reason why I'm saying this, like that's one of the reasons why I created the show Mental Moments. That's the reason why I always talk about mental health, because I know so many people that are men that are suffering and they cannot, because what happens is if they open up to their wives, open up to their significant others, and then in a heated argument, the woman be like, yeah, that's what your weak punk ass, that's what they do. That's what a lot of women do. Yeah. And I say to women and men, that's counterproductive. Like, why are you taking them down a notch? For what?
It takes one time for that to happen.
Look, I'm gonna say she right on that. Because some people, like she say, some people got this baggage on them, and I'm gonna agree with her on that. That if they don't let certain things off, they commit suicide. And sometimes they don't know how to cope with life.
They don't know
deal
how.
With the stress. Some people do need counseling, and somebody need, and I think we as people need to pay attention to our loved ones, because you don't know mental illness to a stream that you looking at it that you see they acting a little different, but we don't pay attention to these signs enough that these people go out and end their lives. And then you trying to figure out, oh, I saw it, but I did. It's too late. So sometimes some people do need to be talked to. Some people need somebody to have an open ear. Some people need, just bullying somebody. We were just talking about this with somebody that we never looked at when we was young in school, how we bullied somebody or calling them fat or you got a big nose or you patting all this. And years later, that still traumatized them. And even though they lost weight, they still feel like they fat because
so then that's where the womanizing come in. That's where they're obsessive with how they look. They spend so much money on their clothing or their status or how much money they make or how many women. And most times it's because they feel inadequate from the jump. And so that's what I'm saying. Say it again.
You know why that is?
Why? Because
they believed it. You can't believe what somebody else say about you. Unless it's somebody that's care about you, that's trying to give you some constructive criticism, you can't believe that. You can't believe something from somebody that don't mean you no good. But when you raised up, if you don't know that, you'll suck that and you'll just be eating all that stuff.
But
that's a problem. You gotta.
A lot of people hate that, man. I mean, even through school, even your friends could say something negative. We just grew up. You can't. It ain't always about believing, but if you keep hearing different people telling you the same thing, it tears down people's self-esteem. It hurts people. And some of these things are scars. And these are the traumas that they're talking about that people haven't.
And the baggage, yes.
And they have maybe, like she said, the baggage. They haven't got past that. So they still living in that same trauma, even to
and it's like, what does that look like?
Imagine this. But look, this is another trauma.
A lot of times it's normal.
It's not even another trauma you never even think about, even from a young girl or a young man. The mama could always be abusive because this child look like the daddy and say something, or the daddy could be abusive to the girl because it reminds her of the mama and say little negative stuff. You're just like your mama. Yes, and that's trauma. And that child grow up wanting their daddy to love them and looking for that woman looking for a man to love her like the daddy didn't do, and she been used and abused, and all she was looking for one man to show her different. So after a while, it gets in her mind that all mans ain't no good because she done been through every relationship and they treated her like the dad wasn't talked about. Or the child, the boy could be the same way with the mom. You always get your ass, man. Every time the mom come through the door, he happy to see her, but she comes, get your blood, clean him out, stay in the room and out. And he hurt. Yeah. All he want to do is tell the mom, I want to love you. But the mom is going through her own emotional trauma. And like she said, she might have need counseling. She might didn't know how to handle all the stress and the work and coming in the house every day. She took it out on them kids, and them kids are mentally messed up from that today. You already said some young men act like they feminine now because they took the emotions of the women. And it's vice versa. Girls you don't know what their trauma to make them act the way they act today, man. We trying to figure it out, but this stuff goes lots deep, man, real deep.
And I think that's the reason why I say, and I think that's the reason why most people, not just men, are afraid to start that process of therapy, of unraveling the past, right? It's like, where do you even begin? And that is one of the reasons why I endorse therapy, because if you sit with your spouse or with your significant other, with your kids or your family members or whatever, and most of the times people don't get to the second level of communication. The first level is most of the time we act out of emotions. Mm-hmm. So the communication is emotional. It's emotional. So you just and it's most of the time it's getting what I got to say off my chest, but I also want to say something that's going to sting and hurt you. But it's just like once you get past the emotional part of the conversation, now it's like, okay, now that we got all of that out, now let's get to the meat of the heart of the matter. But most of the time we cannot graduate from the emotional conversation to just let's deal with the facts. What are the facts? And so that is the reason why I say that therapy is so important, because you got somebody that don't know you, don't know them, and they just giving you their thoughts of wisdom.
Representative.
You see what I'm saying? But when you trying to go to your mama or your daddy, or go to your cousin, your girlfriend, or your male friend, it's a biased opinion, and people gonna feel a certain kind of way and maybe not share. But in therapy, you don't know that person, so you can share your heart with that person. Because it's not like you're gonna see them tomorrow. But it's just, I just feel like we're also worth the investment, just like you go get your hair cut. We're all worth the investment. I feel like therapy should be a part of your just like you brush your teeth, therapy should be a part of that. Like, what is it gonna hurt?
I got a question, dude. Do you think, because it's always said that people that's hurt always hurt people. So you think hurt people, and they don't know that they're taking their own hurt out and hurting other people because they never, like you said, they never examined themselves that they had issues. All they know is they want it, and they feel like mentally they want other people to feel the same way they feel, and they go out here and say negative things and hurt people and do things that can just hurt people that's trying to even be a friend to them or help them, but they don't know how to deal with it because their walls up because they've been hurt so much. All they want before you could come in, they rather hurt you so you don't hurt them because everybody that came to them already hurt them. So do you believe that's a real common thing? I mean, I've seen it, but I mean, do you feel like that's part of the mental?
Absolutely, because here's the thing. You know how you grew up, how we all grew up, right? How I grew up, I consider that to be the norm. Like, for prime example, I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh my God, we was poor." She was like, "What you consider poor?" And I was like, "Oh my God, we had to eat those moon pies. We used to have to eat pecan swirl. We used to have to go to the Wise Company." And my mom be like, go over there and get the pecan twirls. They be like two for $3 or two for $1.50, and it might be 2 days old. She's like, "Girl, that won't poor. What do you mean?"
I used to eat all that. I liked all that. You just said you make that. I ain't know I was poor.
But what I'm saying is, people that are dealing with trauma and were raised with people yelling at them and cussing them out, to them that could be terms of endearment. That could be just what they know. So they don't even know that they're inappropriate or that they're hurting people. But yes, hurt people do hurt people because they don't. Because you know how, if you think about it, when you was in elementary school or high school, the person that used to joke the hardest
was in the most pain.
Was the one that was in the most pain. And the reason why they had to go, and 9 times out of 10, they hit below the belt. Like, if you was handicapped, forgive me those that may be handicapped or whatever, but if it was somebody, if you had something wrong with your hand, your foot, they would go straight for the jugular. Why? Because that's what they grew up. They was like, say it again.
To keep everybody off of them.
So yes, hurt people do hurt people. Hurt people do hurt people, but like you say, and like I say to people, it's so much help out there right now. Like, you can books, you can go online, anything. There's so much help out there. You just gotta want it, and you gotta be okay with being uncomfortable. But I promise you, you will not be uncomfortable forever. Like, there is a rainbow on the other side of this. Like, just processing your thoughts.
See, you do counseling, right? I mean, I'm just gonna, because that's the way she coming at, like she's a counselor.
No, I'm just saying, I have a show, Mental Moments, and I endorse therapy. I was in school at NYU for drama therapy, but my major reason for going into therapy is because I speak to a lot of men all the time, and they just be like, "Yo, Tosh, like, I'm all types of fucked up." That's what they say. Like, I'm not lying. Like, they be like, "I'm all types of messed up. Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and just be single for the rest of my life because, I'm old." And I'm like, 50 is not old. 52, that's not old.
Right.
Like, you still got a good 20 years at least, I'm thinking. Like, do you want to live that part of your life always in conflict because of your baggage, which is bringing to your new relationship, and the baggage is showing up, meaning you don't want to answer to nobody. She want to know, like, babe, like I called your phone 20,000 times, or you ain't been home since such and such. Like, babe, don't want to answer to nobody, or don't want to be committed, or don't want to do this, or don't feel like they should contribute to the house. So it's so many things, but they rather sit in that or keep going to a new relationship with the same old baggage. And the result is still going to be the same.
I got a comment from Charles Sneed Jr. and it's because we got back on the subject of men in counseling, and what he said was the amount of responsibilities and the weight they carry forces us, meaning men, to compartmentalize things, because in most cases we have to get on to the next thing, and that's true.
What do y'all mean by compartmentalize? Give me your definition of that.
I know for me, I can put my stuff in a box and just get to it when I get to it.
Compartmentalize meaning things that are, say for instance, all right, what you as a man deem is priority, important right at that moment. Whatever is like, okay, well, this is not detrimental to life or my family, so I'm just gonna put this right here. And then things that are, trivial and not really necessary, I just throw it in here. I may address it, I may not, because it depends on that if I do address it, do I want the backlash that might come with it? Nah, it ain't even worth the energy to put to it. So I just go on by my way with that. That's how some men, I ain't gonna say all, because my way of compartmentalizing may be different from the next man, but that's
pretty good, Sean.
We compartmentalize it in those ways. Extreme emergency, you right on that. It's like that's number one. Extreme emergency, that's number one, because if it's life, limb, or someone's going through something that hey, look, either if I'm going through it or someone else is going through it, it's immediate. Got to be handled.
I got it. Hey, Tasha, hold on one sec. We got Ro in the chat. He wants to make in the backstage with a comment or question. I'm gonna bring him up. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
What's good, family?
All right.
What's up, Ro?
What's good, Natasha? How are you?
Great, thank you.
I'm familiar with the brothers. I just want to make a statement, and this is a good topic. It's a real good topic, counseling. But I just feel like it's all in the presentation with how people receive the notion or wanting to go counseling. We present counseling in a way as you having a problem, or you having issues, or you having trauma. Sometimes it just takes a conversation about everything that's going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be presented in a negative light. You dig what I'm saying? And I just want to be like, I just feel like I just got a question, like, and Natasha, don't take offense, but why is it always, it seemed like in most cases, it's always the black women presenting the black men with an outlet for their trauma, because we all deal with different types of traumas on different types of levels. You dig what I'm saying? So I just, that just kind of, and that probably is the reason why a lot of men resent it or look at it in a negative way. How you feel about that?
I think for women, when a woman offers therapy, I think she has done every single thing that she possibly could have done in a relationship to make the relationship better. And I think when Black women talk about therapy to men, to their Black men, it's as a last resort. Like, that's like, we've tried it communicating. We've tried going to the church, getting prayed over. We've tried talking to our friends. We've tried separation. And so I think women are just like, well, let's try this. And it's not that, and I would say even people that are even dating, like now that I am on the other side of, I'm in the dating pool now, I would say to people, just like I just said earlier, when you, just like you schedule to get your hair cut, I think therapy should just be part of your routine, not for past trauma, just for maintenance, just to keep you on the up and up. Like, it's always good to have an unbiased opinion. And most of the time when we say go to therapy, yes, there is a situation, there is a pressing issue. And so I think that's the reason why we say, okay, well, we tried everything else. What about counseling? I think that's the only reason why most African American women are suggesting counseling, because
Yeah, I think.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I know you. So I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I
Finish
just
your thought.
think most Black women really want our Black men to be better. Just like women, we need to go to therapy too, because we got a whole lot of
Indeed.
trauma that we're dealing with. We do. So I'm not saying men just go to therapy, but most of the time we'll say, I'm going to therapy, let's go to therapy. They be like, I ain't going to therapy, you can go. Or they will say they'll go to therapy and never go.
Yeah, I just, just
And you
having
make us agree.
I just feel like when you have an unbiased person, I think basically they're giving their opinion. And I think at the root of all open and honest communication, not just communication, you have to label it. It has to be open and honest communication. And the ability to deal with the results or what comes out in that conversation, whatever's been hidden, whatever stone has been turned over. You ever been a kid playing in the yard and you move a rock and there's 8-9 spiders, 2 or 3 worms or whatever. The ability to deal with that, like before we sit down and have this conversation, understand that it's going to be some things that come out that's going to be unfavorable or that you're going to look upon unfavorably. And I think if we could do that with each other, you don't need that third person, because a lot of times how you even know that third person is really listening? They could just be holding that legal pad, doodling, writing a rhyme, anything, and they just basically giving their opinion, and they don't really understand the core of what the issue is or what the problem is.
I'm just offering as an option.
Yeah,
Because
no doubt.
because you can talk to people that you really know, but sometimes those opinions are biased.
Right.
Indeed.
Meaning, let's say for prime example, just say for prime example, my ex and I used to go to my parents, my father and my mother for counseling. They are a rare case. My father and my mother, half of the time they would not take my side. So they were unbiased, which, like I said, was a rare case. But sometimes when you go to your friends and your family, they be the ones that be telling you the crazy stuff. Girl, I wouldn't do that. Girl, I would. You ain't got no man, girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you got to consider the source. And if by chance that person that's doodling or sketching and all of that, if you find or if you feel that that person isn't right, like just like you go to a barber and you be like, you messed me up right there. The same thing with a therapist. If that's not the right fit, go to another one.
It takes time. I think a lot of cases, therapy can be looked at as defragging, like you defrag your computer. It's a maintenance thing. And a lot of time people just want to vent. At least I know, let me say this, a lot of my female friends, I'm about the solutions. They want to vent. I told people probably, I'm 50 now, about 5 years ago, stop calling me if you don't want a solution. I'm not the vent guy. I ain't got time to take your vents. If we trying to fix the solution, then you can call me. We can work on a solution, but I don't have time for it. I'm the wrong person for that. So we have to individually understand what strengths we have to be able to help people and what we don't have. And what I don't have is time to listen to somebody talk about a situation they're not trying to resolve.
Because you're trying to deal with your issues.
Well, I got my issue, but I'm trying to.
That's just what
don't
it
have
is.
time.
That's
Ro,
just what it is.
Bro.
Well, look, but the
Y'all
biggest
got
thing,
issues.
some people don't
We
realize
all
like
got
what you
issues,
said,
yeah.
but some people don't realize they have issues. They don't think nothing
That's
wrong
a
with
fact.
them. And some of the things they do, even though you see it's toxic and they need help,
Exactly.
they'll still go without thinking anything wrong because in their state of mind or they thinking they didn't know them and there ain't nothing wrong with them. They don't feel like they need to change any things or need to talk to anybody to be fixed. They already feel like they complete. So it's like you got to help people. Certain people got to want to come for help. Some people won't come for help. Some people don't even know how to come for help. Some people just scared to ask somebody. Some people just feel like don't nobody care. And they just get into this trauma of thinking that way and they do some ill things. So it's like I understand what Tasha talking about, but I want to understand, I come from another perspective too. Some of us didn't have, in the past, we didn't have therapists. We had to learn to cope with life. Life either gonna make you or break you. Some people are strong enough to deal with the situation. Some people not. But some people got to live through the trauma. Everything we do, man. I would just say my definition of trauma is totally different. It's just that, and Raymond talked last night about it, but I'm not even going in that direction. But it's just that we have dealt with everything, all of us, from losses of family members,
all of us,
trauma, and we got to learn how to deal with it and get through it. It's things that happen to us that we haven't fully relieved. We talk only to little parts of friends, but we all deal through hurt. I mean, even like Tasha said, during her relationship, that could traumatize her. She might need counseling to get through that and question a lot of things with herself. You don't know. People been through trauma through relationships, and they are scarred from it, and they need to be fixed, or they feel like they need to be fixed. And it makes them at a point now, I'm happy not going through that no more. I don't want to go through that no more. I don't want to trust people like that no more. I'm comfortable with just cool with me instead of letting you into my space that deep.
That's what those boundaries are.
That's what boundaries. So it's like you got to realize there's a lot of trauma and hurt out here with people, a whole lot of people. And you got people so traumatized, they like mentally zombies and will hurt you, run you off the road with road rage, ready to snap at the job, pull out a gun and end. You don't know how deep some people are messed up. And watching TV just put more anxiety and more stress. Oh, the world, we're going to war. The president, all this stuff is driving them crazy that they just, boom. They just in the zone. They don't even know they mentally just exploded and ready to just end everything and anybody in their path. And you scratching your head. He won't like that. He was nice, but you don't know the trauma.
That's where grace comes in.
Everything they dealing with is going on.
That's what grace comes in.
I try not to go the extreme route because I think that's an easy way for people to say, oh yeah, this is mental illness there. You know, I'd rather go with.
Are you saying that's the easy way?
That's the easy way to point out and say, yeah, that person is messed up. I'd rather look at the normal person that goes through life and they thinking that everything is fine, but the way they characterize and say things is like they don't realize that there's an underlying situation that they're dealing with, but they just don't think it's there because they think that it's normal. Like, you know, hey, if it's a normal situation, okay, like relationship, let's say that it's a breakup, and you know, and you're like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is, you know, and not really dealing with it. But that's normal, but it's still an issue that's there, you know, and until you can come to terms and understand it is gonna be there as long as you just keep
When they say
brushing it
people
along
don't
and
deal
going
with
along right
it,
away.
they're dealing with it. They may not verbalize it, but it's there. And their reaction to things and to people are dictated by the trauma.
Right. Let me clean up a couple of comments here, y'all. We got Roland Mendoza. Why might not? Wow. Why? Why might not all need therapy? Did I say that right?
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
maybe it's saying we may
It's a
not
tongue
all.
twister.
Right. Maybe it's saying we may not all need therapy or be in distress unless it is health problems. We are too blessed in the ways we can succeed in this country. I feel you though. Appreciate your comment, Roland. Also, Michelle, she said, I guess I evaluated her statement. She was like, no, I wasn't saying that. But Michelle, you should have typed the right words, darling. I don't know what to say. You got another chance before we wrap it up. Go ahead and type it in now, and we'll get the correction out. Dion, boom. Uh-oh, did I click it? And that's what we're dealing with now, a bunch of hurt people who haven't healed, and they have that. Maybe that's trauma. I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me attitude. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's, Michelle's comment came through. Let's see here. Let's see what she said. Michelle says, I wasn't saying men are built for it big. It was a comment you made I was disagree with. I know what she meant. Sometimes niggas get confused. Okay, so what was the comment then, Michelle? What we're gonna have to say because we'll she says, and then Roland's laughing. I don't know what Michelle is disagreeing with, but Michelle, great to have you in the chat tonight, and hopefully we can see you again next week. We're gonna be wrapping up. Any last comments before we wrap up?
I think baggage is good and bad. You have different types of baggage, and which can be categorized as trauma. We all have some type of trauma. Like nobody's perfect. Like you know how Joel Osteen, he always smiling and everybody ain't happy all the daggum time. All right, Joel, but everyone have different types of trauma and different types of situations that they're dealing with. And it's just how you communicate with each other. I say love on yourself and allow grace to other people. Mm-hmm. Like we was talking about road rage and things like that. I think if we all operate in humility and some form of grace and understanding that nobody's perfect, I think that'll make life a little bit easier, sweeter, and being able to communicate better. I think it'll go a long way.
I think so too.
Those are my thoughts.
I agree. I agree with the self-help. I'm always an advocate of self-reflection. If you have to look at yourself and see where you stand in regards to the relationships you in, the people that you deal with, and in all walks of your life. I mean, if you don't take that time to look at yourself and reflect, then it's like you're just going along doing this and that, and you're not really looking at how you affect those around you. You just affecting people, whether bad or good. You just not looking at the total picture of how everything is being processed from person to person, and especially within yourself.
All right. Well, Chilla, since it's your brother that's not here tonight, you got anything to say before we wrap this thing up, brother?
It was a good podcast, and thank you, Tasha, for being here, showing your perspective on mental health and people need therapy. I enjoyed the conversation. It was debatable. There was a lot of good things. And Kevin Samuel, you did your part. I enjoyed it. That was good to say.
Take
If
us
you
out,
stay
bro.
ready, you won't
Take
have
us
to
out,
get
Chris.
ready. Get established.
This has been another episode. This has been episode 50 of the Get Established Show. We appreciate you guys being on with us tonight. We appreciate Tosh stepping in for D. Jones. We will be here every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come back, bring a friend, and let's chop it up. We look forward to y'all being here, and we're so glad to have you with us. Till next time, it has been the Get Established Show. Peace.